Get on up.
Everybody right there.
Get into it.
Everybody right there.
Get involved.
Everybody just come on up. Come on up. Come on, come on. Come on with your come on. Come on, come on.
Okay, we are backstage with the public good. I am joined by three High Road fellows, Mame, Joe, and Michelle. They are from Cornell, and they are here in Buffalo for the summer working on various projects. So all of your projects have to do with development in some way. Am I right on that?
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good. We had a person on Facebook named Jabril who was very interested in development and wanted to know a little bit about imaginative strategies to move forward. So I'm kind of thinking maybe we could talk about community control and what goes on now and what could be going on in the future.
Yeah.
Does that sound good?
Yeah, definitely. So the Green Code, which just kind of really took place, is very accessible to everyone in Buffalo, that you see citizens now can easily understand it and then go to the Common Council and kind of say, this developer is not doing this correctly. This is not working with inside the Green Code. And you kind of saw that with this residents of North Buffalo who kind of went to the Common Council meeting when Dashes wanted to get a zoning variance, and they kind of said, hey, the Green Code exists for this reason. If you're giving everyone variances, what's even the point of this? And so now you have citizens really coming forward and saying, the developer's not doing something right. And so that's why an inclusionary zoning policy that's very accessible, like the Green Code is, could do a lot to empower neighborhoods. When a developer is building and there's not building enough affordable housing units, the citizens can then come to the Common Council and be like, hey, this developer is not benefiting the community like we wanted. And so we can empower neighborhoods to really come forward and advocate for themselves.
Sure, so people can really benefit from stricter guidelines and
Yeah.
Exactly, with developers. So as far as Canal side, as far as the development of a community land trust and different vacant lots, how are you guys excited? I mean, these are really exciting projects. And how are they different than what they were before?
I guess for Canal side and the use of higher economic development principles, terms like that, higher economics, were first introduced to Buffalo maybe in 2009, in the development or the talks of having a community benefits agreement implemented for Buffalo's outer harbor and inner harbor. That kind of language is new to Buffalo, and I think it's really exciting that that was the first introduction. Canal side and all that was the first introduction. Moving forward, that kind of language is being used by the city and other things. For example, the South All Development Block, that RFP incorporated language such as living wage provisions, MWBE, green development, sustainability, stuff.
What is MWBE? One more time.
Oh, Minority Women
Awesome.
Business Enterprises.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks.
So that kind of language is really exciting for the future of Buffalo, because now that it's been introduced, it'll continue to gain traction and to become the norm as opposed to something foreign or something that's people are uncomfortable with. And I'm excited to see that being the standard for development in the city of Buffalo.
Awesome. Great. Cool. Mame, any additions with the work that you've been doing?
Yeah, so with vacancies, my work doesn't really touch on the redevelopment of those properties, but I have been able to see what's been happening with some of the properties that get into the hands of organizations like Habitat for Humanity. And so you're seeing, I think there was a property on Germania Street, and I think 2 or 3 years ago it was in shambles. It had been vacant for 8 years, I want to say, and recently it was rehabbed, completely renovated, and now there's a whole family living there. So not only is that property no longer draining money from its community, it's putting money into the entire community, right? Because now you have an entire family not only in the home but in that community. They're going to those stores, they're going, they're playing in the parks, they're doing they're giving back to that area. And so I think there's been a move a lot in Buffalo. I mean, is it slow? Sure, but it's definitely happening where people are making those decisions for themselves, whether or not how they're going to take care of their communities. Because I think for a long time you were seeing things that were being built in Buffalo that didn't really have a goal to better the community as much as just to make money, if that makes sense. And I think when you start from the ground up, first create a home in which people can live, so that they can then give back to that community. you're going to see a lot more change. You're going to see a more sustainable growth model for the city rather than just sporadic, bits and bobs here and there. Yeah, and so I think just with the properties that I've looked at so far, that's definitely what's been happening.
Cool. Okay, excellent. That's great. So community control, we're talking about change and development and community development here in Buffalo. Awesome. Thanks to our YouTube commenters and to our High Road Fellows. That's great. Thank you.
Everybody over there.
Get on up.
Everybody right there.
Get into it.
Everybody right there.
Get involved.
Everybody just